I met a gypsy.
Can't create power on a two-stroke. You've got to carry it. Four strokes, it's a little bit more forgiving. You just crack the throttle and jump something big. Yeah, two strokes are not coming back.
No.
That sucks. But I do wish that we still had the type of, I guess, racing that we had in two-stroke days.
Yeah.
Everything's just so jumpable on a 450 now. Watching a 450 Supercross from the stands can be a little bit boring because you can have, if the track's basic and it's 45 seconds, the top 10 are within, 3 sections of each other, all jumping the same shit, and it's kind of boring, especially when you take out whoops. But man, like a two-stroke exhibit, that's it.
Yeah,
We'll do 250,
250
east, west, the two-stroke, the arena cross, the futures.
Imagine, I wonder who you'd get to do like a two-stroke race. Just even the sound in the stadium's so cool,
Yeah.
But you're right, like the 450s, it's too easy for 450s. And you obviously get like a big separation, right? Like Jet versus Harry Coulis. Like there's a big difference in skill but I mean, mostly doing the same sections. But it's almost just like, I think Rhino said, it's like they just outgrew the stadiums.
Yeah.
Everything's just whop, whop, 2 jumps away. Like even the rhythm section at Dallas, the one that after the triple and the left, and then it was kind of like the only one. You could hear the guys coming around that corner just be like, like not even touching the throttle, then and they jumped it.
Yeah.
And you're like,
It's big. Like
they're not getting, there's no traction. They're barely even able to get around the corner.
The bikes are fast.
Can still do the jump.
If you go watch free practice, the very first practice of the weekend, when the guys, they haven't even ridden press, they roll out and they're hit everything by the second lap. Like, damn, all right, this is going to be slot car racing tonight. That's kind of boring. But then you make it too technical. Now everyone feels they have to jump the big fast line, and then you get people crashing out. So how do you actually make it even with bikes that are that fast? Like, do you slow them down? Do you limit the displacement? Like I said earlier, I think a 450 is too fast. Like, does that mean we go 350s? No, but 400s maybe. Do you do like, it's racing, so you want horsepower. Like, you want every team to have an advantage. I don't want it to be like NASCAR where like the cup class is here, you're all in the same car. But does that make it like a little bit more even around? Like, every 450 is fast. Like, is there really much separation on a factory 450 to a privateer 450?
Yeah, now it's just really coming down to electronics for the start.
Yeah.
Like, that's really I think that's what you're seeing with Honda. Like, they have the best electronics, it seems like, at the moment.
It's pretty good. They're definitely...
Like, dude, you can just see Jet, his front wheel. His front wheel just locks up.
Yeah.
They're
pretty good.
And then just drive, whole shot, bang.
Yeah. I mean, our bikes are pretty dialed on the start too, though. Their bikes are good.
But it might be like that 1%, 2% better.
Doesn't that suck that, like, a lot of it comes down to the start?
Well, that's this year was more prevalent than any year before, I think.
Do you change that? Like, do you take the grates away? Do you take the whole shot buttons away?
Dude, I mean, I don't know about whole shot buttons.
I say take the grates away.
I think dirt, because the problem is that it kind of defeats the purpose of quality.
I was going to get at that.
So it's like, that's why I think you need to have the top 10 shootout, like at the night show, where it's like the lights are on and it's the pressure. You don't get a whole session. Like, that top 10 is where you start.
Yes.
Then that rewards that skill.
Yeah.
Because, like, so what is sport? Like, let's just go all the way back. Sport is rewarding the skill of the most skilled player. Yes. Whether you're the most skilled player on the team, or you're the most skilled team in a competition, or you're the most skilled rider on the track. So what you're doing there is you're trying to set up an environment where you reward the person with the most skill. Yes. Right? So when you have great starts, when you have traction control and launch control, and when you have whole shot devices that can go down to the fucking axles.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you do all of these things, like, yes, you're looking for a competitive advantage, but then you're taking away from the rider's skill as such, you know. So it's like there's a balance between, we need to keep this within the realm of like trying to find the best rider, because or you end up in MotoGP, where you need to be on a Ducati, and if you're not on a Ducati, you need to be on a KTM, and if you're not on a KTM, you need to be on a Aprilia, and if you're not on one of them, fucking don't even bother, because you're getting 14th. So it's like that's the extreme you want to avoid, right? So you've got to try and find like this middle ground. But so you go to quali, the shootout, under the lights, in front of the people. You don't get multiple attempts at your lap. That's to get you into the shootout. But once you get into that shootout, it's on you to perform. So then that's rider skill. That's the first thing where you're rewarding rider skill. And then because you qualified first, you get to choose the first gate. That gate, you're being rewarded for your skill. And then, you know, maybe you make the whole shot devices a certain depth. You know, so it's like you're just kind of regulating things along the line.
But how much regulation do you do before you end up like NASCAR, where you're all on the same fucking thing?
That's where, again, you just have to pay attention to like, what are we trying to achieve here? Is like, we're trying to bring out the best, you know, reward the person with the best level of skill, and you don't want to over-regulate it.
I like the idea of dirt starts. Dirt starts they're so much better. Like the great, like you can, like you just said, that's another variable taken out. And also, like, dude, you're in third gear almost immediately out of the gate. Like, that's moving. You're launching. That is so fast. If you want Supercross safer, put the whoops back in and take the grates back out. And like Detroit, when the 250 class got cleaned out this year, those dudes were moving so fast going into a tight left-hander or a left 90, and it's a short start, and they also had so much speed because you're coming off of a grate. Dude, you lock them in, you're wide open, dump the clutch and grab third gear immediately. A third gear 250F, a third gear 450, that's fast, dude. That's a lot of miles an hour.
That's as fast as I need to go.
No, thank you, man. You can jump Larocco's Leap, third gear pinned.
So you could do that off the start, straight off the start.
Off Larocco's Leap. Like, no.
Well, and then you think about it, it's a great point. Like, we saw first turn pile up at A1 in the 450 class. Like, that cost Hunter in the heat race. Logan Carnow breaks his fucking ankle into a million pieces.
Bad.
Like, Detroit, huge first turn pile up. So it's like you see a lot of these first turn crashes. And again, I think you've got a point in the great, because you've got people that are on the outside that if you qualify 21st for a Supercross, like, you should get a shit start. That's how it works.
You barely got in.
You barely got in. You're at the back of the grid, so to speak, you know. But I just don't think that the greats allow for the separation, and it doesn't make a good position with a good rut, with a good, you know, good conditions. Like, you should have an advantage for that. That should leave that person out in front. It should stagger the starts a bit to where you don't have 20 dudes at an equal pacing all entering that bottleneck.
I like the idea of we could do gates for heat racing, but then I like the grid start
for the mains. The problem is with that is that how exciting is
the first turn,
you know, and the fireworks going off. There's something so sick about that.
It's true. Like, you could be the fastest all day long and mess your start up in the main, and now you're in 12th, versus if you win the heat race, like, you're starting front row, and like, okay, well, you've been fastest all day. It's probably just as boring then as giving him a great and knowing he's going to get a whole shot. But I do like the idea of like being rewarded for being fastest qualifier. But like, if it's a dirt start, some of the dirt starts are shit. Whereas the great, you're literally just looking out front, and they're all groomed for the first race anyways. And now you're going position over condition, because you can carry so much speed off the great that if there's a hole, you can
push through the rut anyway. Like,
it just takes so much away from it, and I don't know, it's different.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.